Let's get right into it. Number 10. Reusable bags. You feel morally superior carrying one. The cashier nods. The planet sheds a single grateful tear. And then you toss raw chicken, unwashed vegetables, a leaking shampoo bottle, and yesterday's gym socks into the same fabric sack that lives in your trunk like a forgotten raccoon nest. Here's the fun part. Your brain treats reusable as clean by default. Once something is labeled good for the planet, your risk radar shuts off. Psychologists call this moral licensing. You did a good thing, so your brain gives you permission to stop thinking. That's why you don't wash the bag. Ever. Because washing it would imply it could be dirty, and that emotionally contradicts the vibe. Biologically, bacteria adore this setup. Warm car, food residue, moist fabric. It's basically an all-inclusive resort for microbes. Studies have found reusable bags crawling with E. coli, salmonella, and things that sound like rejected Star Wars characters. And no, letting it air out doesn't help. That just gives bacteria time to invite friends. The irony, to actually offset a single plastic bag, some reusable bags need to be used dozens or hundreds of times, which means if you forget it at home even a few times and buy another emergency one, congratulations, you've emotionally supported cotton farming for no reason. And just wait until we get to the item later in this countdown that proves your eco-pride might actually be melting into your food. That one's spicy. Basically, your reusable bag isn't saving the planet. It's just freeloading on your good intentions while growing a beard of germs. Number 9. Bamboo everything. Bamboo sounds magical. It grows fast, pandas love it, the word itself feels like it should be whispered in a yoga studio. So when you buy bamboo toothbrushes, bamboo cups, bamboo plates, bamboo emotional support spoons, your brain goes, yes, I am aligned with Earth. Except most bamboo products are bamboo in the same way hot dogs are meat. Technically related, spiritually questionable. Here's the science bit simplified without ruining the joke. Bamboo is a grass. To turn a rigid grass into smooth cutlery or fabric, manufacturers usually have to break it down chemically and glue it back together. A lot. The end result is often held together with resins and adhesives that are, let's say, not grown in a forest by monks. Your brain misses this because of something called the naturalness bias. We assume natural equals safer, cleaner, better. If it came from a plant, it must be chill. But chemistry doesn't care about your aesthetic. A bamboo plate bound with industrial glue doesn't magically become wholesome because it's beige. And bamboo utensils, they degrade faster, crack easier, and end up in the trash sooner, meaning you replace them more often, which means more production, more shipping, more emissions, all wrapped in a smug green bow. There's also the fun surprise that bamboo cups and bowls can leach chemicals when exposed to heat, which is cute because people love using them for hot coffee. File that one mentally, because a much higher stakes version of this shows up later in the countdown. So yeah, bamboo isn't evil, it's just not the eco-fairy tale your brain desperately wants it to be. It's sustainability feeder with really good marketing. Number 8. Paper straws. You sit down at a restaurant. You order a drink. They bring you a paper straw like they're handing you a moral test. You take one sip. 30 seconds later, the straw has the structural integrity of a wet noodle that's seen some things. Paper straws are the perfect example of something that feels helpful while quietly accomplishing almost nothing. Your brain loves them because they're visible sacrifice. You can see yourself doing the right thing. This triggers a little reward loop. I am helping. Dopamine released. Guilt temporarily silenced. But from an environmental science perspective, paper straws are a rounding error. Straws make up a tiny fraction of plastic waste by weight. They were targeted not because they're the biggest problem, but because they're emotionally easy to remove. No one riots over straws. Take away plastic packaging or fast fashion, and suddenly it's pitchforks. There's also the uncomfortable detail that paper straws often require more energy and water to produce than plastic ones. And many are coated with, you guessed it, thin plastic or chemical treatments so they don't instantly dissolve in your drink, which means they're not recyclable anyway. They go straight to landfill, but now soggy and judgmental. Psychologically, this is called symbolic action. Your brain prefers small, visible gestures over boring, effective ones. You'll suffer through a collapsing straw before you'll question why everything else in the restaurant is wrapped in plastic. Stick around because one of the upcoming items shows how this exact psychological trick is used to sell products that are actively worse for the environment while making you feel like a hero. In short, the paper straw isn't saving the ocean. It's just giving your lips trust issues. Number 7. Recycled plastic clothing. Athletic wear made from recycled bottles sounds incredible. Trash becomes leggings. Pollution becomes yoga. Your hoodie has a redemption arc. What's not to love? Well, the part where every wash cycle turns your outfit into a microscopic pollution cannon. Here's what's happening, biologically and mechanically. Synthetic fabrics, recycled or not, shed tiny plastic fibers when washed. These microplastics are so small they slip through water treatment systems and end up in rivers, oceans, and eventually inside animals, including, yes, you. Your body now has a frequent flyer relationship with polyester. Your brain ignores this because of a mental shortcut called source amnesia. You remember the good origin story, made from bottles, but forget what the product does over its lifetime. Recycling feels like a full solution, so your brain stops tracking consequences after the purchase. Even better, recycling plastic into fabric actually makes it less recyclable in the future. Bottles could theoretically be recycled again. Fabric? That's the end of the road. It's plastic's final form, like a Pokemon evolution you can't undo. And those eco-clothes still encourage overconsumption. Buying more stuff, just greener colored stuff, doesn't cancel out the environmental cost. It just makes it easier to justify buying again. This is the same mental trap behind bamboo plates and paper straws, and it's about to get much darker when we hit the top 5. Basically, your recycled leggings didn't stop pollution. They just went undercover and learned how to swim. Number 6. Compostable packaging. You see the word compostable and your brain immediately imagines a peaceful journey. The package gently returns to soil. Worms applaud. Nature resets. You throw it away with a smile like you just completed a side quest for Earth. Here's the plot twist. Most compostable packaging is only compostable under very specific industrial conditions: high heat, controlled microbes, specialized facilities. The kind of place your city probably does not send your trash. So what happens, actually? It goes to a landfill, where there's no oxygen, no microbes doing their cute compost thing, just compressed garbage vibes. In that environment, compostable materials can take just as long to break down as plastic, and sometimes produce methane while they're at it, which is extra spicy climate-wise. Psychologically, this works because of label optimism. Your brain sees a future solution and assumes it will magically occur. You don't picture infrastructure, you picture intention. Someone else will compost this. That someone else is imaginary. Even worse, compostable packaging often contaminates recycling streams. It looks like plastic, it feels like plastic, so people toss it in recycling. Facilities can't process it. Entire batches get rejected. One eco-friendly fork ruins the party for thousands of bottles. And remember earlier when I said one of these items actually melts into your food? Keep that in mind. Compostable materials love heat about as much as bamboo does, which becomes relevant soon. In other words, compostable packaging is less returning to nature and more emotionally reassuring trash. Number 5. Glass containers. Glass feels like the saint of materials. It's reusable, it's recyclable, it doesn't leach chemicals. It clinks in a way that says, I am a responsible adult. You put leftovers in glass and feel like you've unlocked environmental enlightenment. But here's the overlooked science part. Glass is heavy, like really heavy. Transporting it takes significantly more fuel than plastic. More weight equals more emissions. And while glass can be recycled infinitely, it often isn't because sorting, transporting, and melting it down requires a lot of energy. Your brain ignores this because of permanence bias. Glass feels solid and eternal, so you assume it's better long-term. Plastic feels flimsy and disposable, so it feels worse even when the full life cycle math disagrees. And then there's the reuse fantasy. You buy a set of glass containers with the intention of using them forever. Realistically, one shatters, another chips, one disappears into the mysterious cabinet void. Suddenly, you're buying replacements, and the cycle starts again. Glass isn't bad, it's just not the flawless eco-angel it's marketed as. It's situational. Like most things, we pretend are moral absolutes. And coming up next, the item that combines heat, chemicals, and good intentions into a perfect storm you probably microwave weekly. Number 4. Non-toxic cookware. You see the words non-toxic and your brain exhales. Relief. Safety. Finally, a pan that won't slowly poison your lineage. You imagine your food sizzling in a chemical-free paradise, untouched by science, untouched by regret. Except non-toxic is not a scientific term. It's a marketing vibe. Most cookware earns this label by being free of one specific scary chemical, usually the one everyone's mad about this decade. So they remove that compound and replace it with another one we're still pretending to understand. Your brain fills in the gaps with optimism because uncertainty is uncomfortable and labels are cozy. Here's the biology part. Many eco or green coatings break down under high heat. Microscopic particles flake off. You can't see them, you can't taste them, but they absolutely exist, and your digestive system is not trained to evaluate cookware promises. And if you scratch the surface, congratulations, you've unlocked a whole new interaction between metal, coating, and heat. The pan didn't suddenly become evil, it just became honest. Psychologically, this works because of hazard substitution blindness. We focus intensely on avoiding one known threat while ignoring the possibility of unknown ones. It's like celebrating because a tiger left the room while not noticing the bear that quietly moved in. This is the item I warned you about earlier, the one where eco-friendly enthusiasm meets heat and chemistry. The moment you turn the stove on, intentions stop mattering, physics takes over. So yeah, your non-toxic pan isn't lying. It's just speaking in marketing riddles while your eggs absorb the footnotes. Number 3. Electric toothbrushes, Eco Edition. An electric toothbrush that's eco-friendly sounds like peak modern virtue. Same clean teeth, less waste, future-forward vibes. You feel like a responsible cyborg. Then the battery dies. Here's the issue. Many eco-branded electric toothbrushes are designed to be less replaceable. Sealed bodies, integrated batteries, sleek design that screams "do not open." When one component fails, the whole thing becomes e-waste. Your brain falls for this because of efficiency illusion. Electric feels advanced. Advanced feels optimized. Optimized feels environmentally superior. But repairability matters more than sleekness, and most of these devices are allergic to screwdrivers. Biologically, your teeth don't care whether the brush was sustainably marketed, but environmentally, lithium batteries definitely care where they end up. And spoiler, it's rarely somewhere magical. Some models also encourage overuse. Replacement heads, subscription refills, constant upgrades. Each one feels small. Individually, harmless. Collectively, though, that's how waste sneaks up on you, wearing a lab coat. And just wait, because the number 2 item takes this same eco-tech will save us optimism and applies it to something way bigger and way more disappointing. In short, your eco-toothbrush didn't fail the planet, it just ghosted it after the battery died. Number 2. Carbon offsets. You buy a flight. The checkout page asks if you want to offset your carbon. It's usually a few extra dollars, cheaper than baggage, cheaper than guilt. You click yes and feel spiritually absolved, like you just sprinkled holy water on a jet engine. Here's the uncomfortable reality. Carbon offsets are a promise about the future, not a correction of the present. You already burned the fuel. The emissions already happened. The offset just claims that somewhere, somehow, something might counteract it later. Your brain loves this because of temporal outsourcing. The problem exists now, but the solution is delayed and abstract. Trees will be planted, projects will be funded, math will be done. You don't have to see it, you don't have to verify it, you just get the emotional receipt. Scientifically, some offset projects absolutely work. Others exist mostly on spreadsheets. Trees get planted where forests already exist. Projects take credit for reductions that would have happened anyway, or they simply don't last long enough to matter. Carbon stays in the atmosphere for centuries. Your offset project lasts a decade. That's not balance, that's wishful accounting. Psychologically, offsets are dangerous because they turn reduction into permission. Once you've paid, your brain feels licensed to continue exactly as before. More flights, more shipping, more consumption, all emotionally neutralized by a checkbox. Remember how earlier items leaned on symbolic action? This is the final boss of that behavior. Nothing looks greener while changing less. Basically, carbon offsets don't erase your footprint, they just put it in a very polite folder labeled someone else's problem. Number 1. The eco-friendly label itself. Here's the most disturbing truth of all. The biggest eco-friendly product isn't a bag or a straw or a pan, it's the label. The moment something is branded eco, your brain relaxes, scrutiny drops, usage increases, purchases feel justified. This is called the rebound effect. When something feels less harmful, people do more of it, and the total impact can actually get worse. You don't just buy one eco product, you buy more because now it feels safe. You replace things that didn't need replacing. You upgrade guilt-free. You consume with a cleaner conscience and a fuller cart. Biology doesn't care about branding. Physics doesn't read labels. The planet doesn't track intention, only outcomes. And the outcome of eco-friendly marketing is often more stuff, not less. That's the paradox no one wants to advertise. The most sustainable product is usually the one you don't buy. The second most sustainable one is the boring, already owned thing you keep using long past when it stops being aesthetic. So if this video made you uncomfortable, good. That discomfort is your brain rebooting its shortcut system. Not everything green is good. Not everything good is labeled green. And sometimes the most radical environmental act is just not falling for the vibe. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.